Welcome to a new episode of After Hours. Hi, I'm your host, Grable. This is the After Hours podcast. Today we are greeted by Omar of the band Omio. They are located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Welcome to the show, Omar. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm super excited to talk to you about the band today, but I'm curious to know more. So tell me a little bit about who is Omio and what is Omio?
So Omio kind of started right when COVID ended. I had a band before. It didn't survive COVID happening, like lots of other bands. So I just started writing about 12 songs, 13 songs, maybe by the end of COVID. And so I started kind of piecing together just different musicians, kind of trying to figure out how to play the stuff live. Maybe that was last year. And then towards the end of last year, I got together with 4 awesome musicians who kind of took the sound and made it something else. So the name itself is kind of like a play on my name. Like my family calls me Omi. And my last name's Otero.
Oh, I see. Okay, so Omi for Omar, and then the last O for your last name, making it Omio.
Mm-hmm. So Omio kind of made sense for when it was a solo project, but now it's kind of evolved into more of a band thing. So we've talked about it. We're probably going to keep the same name because it's just kind of a cool word.
It is really catchy, and I have to say, because when I first saw it, it makes me think of some AI stuff because it's got the dot and then the I-O. So I'm just instantly like, this is very futuristic seemingly. But also when I started listening to the music, then I started cleaning my studio. And I was cleaning and organizing the studio while I was listening to the music. And I just kind of left it on repeat because I wanted to get like really familiar with it and I was really enjoying it. But then 2 days later, I was like, oh, I should probably look and see what Omio is considered. Like, what do they call themselves as far as genre and music? And then it says,
music to clean your house to.
Music to clean your house to. And I felt called out because immediately I started cleaning when I heard this, but just great for cleaning. I listened to a couple of the songs because I know you have 2, I think, up on Spotify, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Those 2 releases were done I didn't want to play a show without something to point people towards. And so they're kind of like demos, more or less, that I kind of put out very hesitantly. Yeah. I felt like I had to get over myself in some ways and just kind of put this out there to accomplish the overall goal. And so I put them out there. I like the songs a lot. It's not the songs that I don't like. We're actually re-recording them, but we don't have much out right now because we wanted to take our time with putting out something we're proud of. And I think we're just finally at that point. We've played a good amount of shows now. It's a small city, so we're in Albuquerque. So it's 4 or 5 venues.
Yeah.
We're almost done recording. And so things are...
Oh, so you're in the studio doing some records now too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're getting it done.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's cool. It's fun because it's I don't know. I've been in projects before where it feels like a separate part of your life. And I feel like that's kind of to an extent that's healthy, but in terms of the creativity of it, it might be a separate part of our lives to an extent, but it has so much to do with our mood.
So you're feeling like this project with Omio and these songs, they're not just like your creations, but they are part of your life. Like they're a reflection of your life.
Yeah, it's we're recording the record all ourselves out of circumstance. It's not even because we're we want to. We wanted to go to a studio and do it, but things are tight.
That's impressive. I'm glad that you guys are coming together and that you met. Like you said, it was 4 other musicians. So there's 5 of you total?
Yeah, it's a 5 right now.
I can see that you want to make sure that you get it exactly where it's meant to be before releasing it. I can say that the releases you do have, demo or otherwise, are very good. I added them to my playlist. When you're thinking about the band Omio, do you consider it like a group project, or is it really are you kind of spearheading the whole project, or how's the collaboration feel in Omio?
It feels like a group. It's cool because, I think we I think we've evolved to call them projects because they require so much. And
Very
I'm
cool.
happy that I've spent the time that I have spent in my life, like learning all sides of it to where I feel confident that if I had to do it alone, I could get my idea across alone. But like, it's so much better when it's like a collective idea. Like if I spearhead anything, it's like the remnants of it being my project to begin with. So like if like someone brings up something that we want to do, like I'm the one getting it like moving, but like and then on the creative side, like I do still kind of bring like most of the fleshed out ideas, but it's also a space where like everyone who's in the band is way better at their instrument than I am. Yeah.
So you're kind of building together. It's like being in a room full of, people. They say who you are, who you hang with, and if you're hanging with
Yeah.
people above your caliber, it brings you up no matter what. So that's awesome. Like it sounds like the perfect blend. I think that's everyone's dream
It's a
when they're
dream.
trying to
It's a
collaborate.
dream. Literally, three of the band members met for the first time at a rehearsal, and they were already playing like they had been playing together for years. It was like, yeah, I just sat there and I was like,
Oh,
what is
perfect. Yeah.
happening right now? Like, this is crazy. But
You get to see it. That's beautiful to see too. I've seen that happen sometimes when you just click together and you're in the same space, and that's awesome. Well, when it comes to the creative process and you guys are all mingling ideas together, you've brought like, your base concept to the table and now
mhm.
everybody's in there, stirring the pot together. If you like I can only ask you because I know nobody else is around right now, but if you consider like yourselves as a group and imagine that your music could transform into like a physical space, maybe a building or something that you guys create in, what would the architecture of that look like?
So
Architects
like
would design it.
how would I describe? Honestly, I think that our current rehearsal situation kind of like is a really good descriptor of it. We rehearse in like it's like a warehouse that got built out to be like half recording studio, half venue. So it has like really cool like little
Oh,
seating
okay.
and like it's really like communal, I guess. And like the guitarist can go like lay down on a couch while we're rehearsing and like I don't know, that the way that kind of describes the process really well, just to feel like I'm answering the question completely. How it usually goes right now is one of two ways. Either somebody starts playing something on their instrument and then everybody else joins along and it sounds like a cool part, so we'll like record it, or like I'll bring an idea, I'll send it to the guys, and then we'll have a rehearsal. And the guys have learned the parts, but like when we start playing it together, they start kind of just doing little things that are very, very them. Like that's the cool thing about all of these musicians. Because like in my experience, you can have someone who plays really, really well, but really like you can't hear them in the instrument. Like there's no character in the way that they play, you know? But like these dudes,
Right.
like they're unique to me in that way. Like there's some of the few people I've met who like when they play their instrument, it sounds like them having a conversation with you.
It's like having
Yeah.
like an artistic style, like, the Van Gogh of, yeah, everyone has their flair. That's cool. And then you can hear them in the music. Like you guys have a really comfortable space to create in where you can just take your time and then almost just dance with each other, around and with the ideas and just do that. And everyone just joins in when they're ready. And if you guys like it,
Yeah,
then you
exactly.
move on with
It's
it and you
like
record it, right?
yeah. And
So
it's really
chill.
cool. It's really cool. It's like no other experience I've ever had with a band.
So who's
Yeah, I
writing the
write the
lyrics right now?
lyrics.
Are you predominantly writing the lyrics?
It's kind of like we all have kind of like our roles, you know? And I think that like while we all
Mm-hmm.
pitch in, we definitely all kind of play off of each other. But lyrics, I think that's kind of my wheelhouse as of right now. The other guys have like both guitarists, Alex and Bobby, and our bassist Johnny, they're all in separate projects too. Like they all have their solo stuff. They all write very well. And so I see it in the future as kind of like collaborating on lyrics from time to time, but as of right now, all of it's my lyrics, yeah.
Have you ever written a song that might have been like based on a conversation you overheard or
I don't really I don't really know. I kind of like I can't like if I told myself I'm gonna like sit down and write a song, I probably wouldn't be able to. I try not to pick a top. I try to like I start just mumbling like and then a phrase comes out and then I'll start singing. I guess I write more about a feeling than I do about a specific thing. While I do have songs that are like related to like some of my lyrics do end up relating to specific things that have happened, but not in a way of telling the story of what happened.
I can understand that. I like to talk to people about when people ask me like, "Oh, what is your, what's this song about that you wrote?" And I'm like, "Honestly, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'll probably find out within the next 3 years when it makes sense." What does your writing process look like? Is it just during jam sessions or when you're alone in your own time?
I try to be as prepared as I can be, I guess. The where I'm
Okay.
most comfortable right now is probably like I do all my demos at my house. Like the stuff that I released and stuff, like I did all that on my computer, and so like I spend a lot of time listening to these songs. And so one day I'll be mixing guitars or something and I won't have a melody down and it'll just pop up. And so I'll start working on vocals. Usually it's just like mumbling and gibberish with like a couple of words in there, and then one of the words, like the cadence or the way I'm singing it or whatever, might like really fit. So I'll just keep it there and then write from there.
No, I like that. I like how you look at it as a very, fluid process. It's just another instrument, really, is how it sounds like it comes
Yeah.
out.
Now that there's this band involved, I'm having to kind of fill my role a little bit more on the dime, like in a live setting. I think I'm starting to see it change a little bit. There's just a freedom that comes with it when like everyone, I don't know, there's a like there's this tension that comes from playing with a live band that's like you have to deliver.
Yeah, you get that little fire under you and then you deliver it and it almost just like flips a switch and the same thing that was coming out gradually comes out a little bit faster.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
learning to embrace that a little bit more in the process. Yeah.
Thanks for like going into the details on it too, because like getting into that headspace when you're not in that headspace, you're coming on to talk on like a podcast with the person you've really never talked to before, it's and then trying to get into that headspace to explain it. I know it can be a little strange at
Yeah.
first, so I appreciate you actually diving in and just being willing to dive into it. That's awesome. I want to dive into those like deep creative processes. I noticed that, a lot of us artists, creatives, whether you're a writer or a musician, we do a lot of our creativity later in the day, in the evenings when it's quiet, when no one's around, or any kind of isolated time that we have throughout the day. Do you find yourself being in that group?
Yeah, like most of for me, most of the good stuff happens when I'm like falling asleep. like like it really does. I'm especially now that we've been recording and I've been like engineering the whole thing. It's been late,
Mm.
late nights. And so like
How late are
4
we
a.m.
talking? Like the morning late? Like the
Yeah.
next day?
Like that's been the norm.
Yeah.
Like 4 a.m. And I think it's a tool, like what time you work, like what time you throw all your creativity into something versus what time do you sit back on it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like when I'm writing, I like to do it late. When I'm like
Mm-hmm.
arranging or thinking about the song, I like to do it early.
Do you know why, maybe? Like, if you want to elaborate on like what feels different between the two?
I guess it's the difference between like eating cereal in the morning and eating cereal at night. Like eating cereal at night.
Okay, I
Like
get that.
like eating cereal at night's more like
I
a
think I get
comfort
it.
thing, blah, blah, blah. You just want a quick bite before you go to sleep. In the morning, it's like I'm starting my day. I'm gonna eat the same exact cereal, but it feels like I'm starting my day.
That makes sense. I love that description too, because I was in my mind picturing it a little different. And then you said cereal, and I was like, wait, you know, growing up, I had a very, like creative household, which is a blessing. So I lots of time for creative endeavors. And we were also the household that was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have breakfast for dinner just because. And so when you said that, and I thought, oh, breakfast for dinner just cause the fun, just for fun treat at the end of the day, that I totally understand that. And that's, you're doing the creative part, like the fun creative writing part. That's the fun evening
Yes,
for you.
exactly.
How long have you guys been as a band, like all the members? When did you say that you guys got together as
This
the full band?
band has been together since September of last year. This lineup.
Cool, very cool. So you guys aren't
Yeah.
even, you're not even at a year yet. You're
Yeah. Yeah, no,
making moves and getting along well.
it's been really, really cool. We're about to go out of state for the first time.
I
Yeah.
think I caught
Yeah,
that.
next
Yeah,
weekend
something, was it
uh
Texas?
will be, or I guess the
Cool.
28th through the 31st. Yeah.
Very
Yeah, we're
cool. Who are you
playing
playing out?
in Deep Ellum at Ruins, and Arlington we're playing at Caves Lounge.
Very awesome. Score a
Yeah.
couple gigs outside of New Mexico. So that's, you're branching out too. You guys, not even a year in and you're already branching out to
It's
more
cool. We have a few friends out there
more people that like
who
the music.
have like connects out here. We met here and they live out there, so we're gonna go play with them. Lafayette and Jay Neon, super good homies.
So when you guys go out to Texas, are you guys going to be
Yep,
like tour vanning it, just driving out there?
all of it,
Very awesome with all the
every
equipment.
last little bit.
That's fantastic. It sounds like a fun road trip too. Like, do
Oh
you
yeah,
guys get along? Like, you're gonna have like fun
no,
conversations on the
no,
way, or are you gonna end up punching each other on the way?
pretty. We get along pretty well. At least that's what I'm hoping for. You know what I mean? If anyone's gonna punch anyone, it's gonna be me. Yeah,
Well, at least you know who it's gonna be. You're in this
yeah.
comfortable spot. It's you they need to worry about. No. Okay, cool. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the whole band to have that, the opportunity to branch out and get more live gigs. That's awesome too. And I wanted to ask about, tracks and releases. You said you guys were recording and stuff. What's the most recent
The most recent
release
one
that
is
you have?
probably
What's that?
Pieces. Yeah.
Pieces. Yeah. Very cool. So for all of you listening, here is a little bit of Pieces by Omio. That was Pieces by Omio that you just heard. And we're here with Omar of the band Omio. And let's hear a little bit more about what this song was about.
It was about I guess the word for it would be process, like in just in different areas of life, like being comfortable with what you have and making it work. I don't know, piece by piece until she's seamless. Learning to be comfortable with little. To be a little more vulnerable about it, like I have a hard time being comfortable with where I'm at because I know where I want to be. And for me, that this song speaks to, like, there's a line in there that says, "Until the dogs calm down, dispensable. It doesn't make too much sense like on its own without the context of the song, but like it just means to me like work to give your dog a happy life. Like work for the small things because like those are the responsibilities that are always going to be there. Like work for the things that will always be there, not for like the things that you don't even have yet. Like you'll get the things you don't have yet by focusing on the things you have, you know.
That's actually really beautiful. I like it's almost like a poetic way to express a familiar concept of live in the now. By living in the now, you are in fact paving the way for the future that you plan.
Right.
That's very cool. I really like that. And I mean, I hear some of the lines and pieces to me has its own meaning in my mind after hearing it. But hearing what it means to you, like I can see that as being, well, that first of all, it's much cooler than what it meant to me because I was just cleaning, and for me, I was just organizing the studio so piece by piece until it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's it. Like that's to me that's that. Like
Right. I mean, it's similar too. It really is similar to what you're saying now that I think about it. Yeah.
that's what it means to me. That's the thing is like I don't know how like, I still have less than 1,000 plays on it like on Spotify, which whatever. But like however many listens it has is how many meanings it has. Like
Yeah, everyone has their own, right? Somebody could be doing dishes, somebody could be driving in traffic, who knows?
yeah, exactly.
I want to ask you before we dive a little bit more into the music that you're making and your other releases. Um, do you have any new songs coming out? Because I know you have a couple up on Spotify right now, but do you have new ones in the ones that you guys are recording as the band that are going to be coming out? And is there any snippets or like sweet details or anything you can share with us about what those are possibly going to be or what they're
Um
called or
yes. I don't know. I gotta talk to the band. I really do. I mean, I can talk about it for sure. In terms of sending stuff, I don't
Okay, yeah,
know.
no, understandable. Definitely if you want to just talk about it, what you're comfortable with.
Cool. Yeah, I'm totally comfortable talking about all that.
I mean, what's next for anybody listening to Omio?
Yeah. So I mean, we're releasing 9 songs, and they're all very different. Like I don't know. I think I'd describe us, well, this next release as like, I think you can get the 80s vibe from the stuff that we've already released, but we delve more into like different genres of that time for this little batch of songs at least. We try to keep like I put music to clean your house too because it's very, very broad. People do that to whatever music they like. And we all like a lot of different music. So I'm excited to see what happens with the sound. But for this one, it's like a collage of 80s sounds kind of melded into the Omio sound that I don't think is present in those 2 recordings that I've released because we're mostly a live band right now. So that's developed into something pretty like, I don't know, I think it's pretty powerful and like fun. So yeah, I think that's what people can kind of look forward to for the releases coming up. I'm not entirely sure when. We don't have exact dates. But definitely this year we'll have a few things out.
I'm excited for it. I know that I'll be listening because I did take a peep at like what was up for the live stuff on your Instagram, and I was listening
Hmm.
to some of that at the launch pad, I think it was, and
Yeah.
that was really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. Can you? I don't know if it's because if everybody's in agreement, could you share like a name of one of the upcoming songs?
Yeah, um the first single I think we're gonna do is All Tied Up. It's a song called All Tied Up. It's kind of got this like kind of chill,
Hmm.
dreamy but danceable kind of like vibe. That one's gonna have a music video. From the looks of it, it's probably gonna have a music video.
Exciting, moving full steam ahead. We're just going to do music videos too.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love the tenacity too, because when I was taking a peek and I really dove in at first glance, I was like, oh, Spotify, usually you just kind of see people established and have Spotify. And then I started looking and I ended up like on the Instagram and I was like, oh, they just came out of the box and were like, bam, we're doing a bunch of stuff. We're just going to dive right in. And it's been less than a year and you guys are already like, okay, we're going to dive in 9 songs, perform live, and make a music video in a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Super fast.
it's cool. I'm thankful for the dudes. I really am. Like, um, maybe we could do another one of these in the future with the whole band.
That would be fun. I think that would be great. We can follow up with Omio and see where they are
Yeah.
now and talk to everybody. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to be just you today or everybody,
Uh-huh.
but I'm happy either way, so it's cool. And then
Yeah.
when we talk again, it'll be, you get like the picture of, what it was and then what it is now.
Yeah.
On the songs that you have up online, you also have Roses Are Dead, right?
Hmm.
Okay, cool. And I wanted to correct something that I said earlier because when we were talking about pieces, I mentioned the bass, and I was actually referring to this song, Roses Are
Oh,
Dead,
okay.
in the opening bass. Yeah, and I had
Yeah.
wrote it down backwards, but this one, the opening bass, really hooked me in.
Cool.
Did you put that together? Was that your creation, the bass?
Yeah, that's probably the oldest song out of all the ones that we're gonna release. Like, I think I wrote that in like 2015, and like that was like I'd been playing guitar for years, but like that's when I really started writing songs. And so that riff's been with me for a really long time. I like it a lot. I think that it sounds better the way we play it now. So I want to re-record that one at some point.
That's exciting. I'm looking forward to that because as an opener, I was like, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
Right away, that one caught my attention. So, and now it's better, I'm hearing. So, looking
Yeah.
forward to that. When it comes to, these songs like you have pieces you've carried over from years before and you bring them, but on the guitar for you, what do you and you write obviously and you said you play guitar and I assume from what you're saying that you do the production side of things and arrangement as well.
Yeah.
What would you say that, your strongest instruments are? What does your repertoire look like?
For me,
Yeah, you specifically.
I'd say that I'm strongest on guitar. I think that's where it's my first instrument.
And you're all the vocals on these, am I correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I thought so.
No, yeah, I love singing. It's what I prefer to do live just because I've never really like sat down and tried to become really good at a specific instrument, regrettably. I think that time will come. But I think the time that I have put into the instruments has been specifically for writing and like finding like an avenue for my voice. Cause like I don't know, I think there's a difference between singers and vocalists. I'm whichever one of those is uh needs a specific sound around their voice to make it sound good. Like I'm not some R&B singer uh who can sing over anything and make it sound unbelievable. So developing that has been like what I've put most of my time into. And so on stage I just like to sing. But writing and like putting together like the parts of a song, like I like to do that on guitar.
It sounds like that's your comfortable writing instrument, like what inspired you
Mhm.
to write it down. And as an artist as well, I relate to that because when I first started, in a young age, it was mostly just singing to the radio and writing things down. But it wasn't until like I had a keyboard for like a year, but then I ended up picking up a guitar as accompaniment, and that's where the writing really started to come together. Was when I got the guitar, that's what I would write with, even to this day. Sometimes if I'm working on anything in the studio or I'm just making a beat for somebody else, in order for me to get that idea, sometimes I have to play the guitar to get to that. And I'm not a fantastic guitar player, I'll tell you. It's definitely an accompanying instrument for me, but but I understand what you're saying because it's kind of like that's the thing that when you pick it up, that's how you're used to writing. It's like your pen for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's fun to delve with other stuff too. Like it's fun to like a lot of stuff for me also starts on like a drum machine. Like when I get to the guitar, it's when I'm working on like melody and harmony and like all of that. But like building the rhythm and like after all of that's down, going to the keys and like learning how to move stuff around with keys is really fun. And like all of it's fun. I think that a lot of the songs that we're going to be releasing were experiments on like starting the song on a different instrument and like maybe going back to the beginning with the guitar once I have like the structure and like making it make a little more sense. But yeah, like I feel like the starting point is always a good place to change if you want to get like a little bit uncomfortable, you know, like if you want to stretch a little bit, like change where you start, you know?
Absolutely. Go back over it and then just throw something in there to mess it all up and see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's always fun too, but just make sure, save
save.
the other one first. Yeah, every time immediately you said that, I was like, yeah, but save first. Yeah, because I have done that where I did not save first.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get though. That's the exciting part. It's
Yep.
like it's like a Russian roulette of your own creativity.
Right.
All right, I like this one question that I'm loving to ask everyone who comes on to the After Hours podcast. So I'm going to ask it. I think I'm just going to keep it as an ongoing thing and asking everyone because it's so silly, but also can be so meaningful.
Okay.
If you had to describe your creative process using only 3 emojis, which ones would you choose and what would they represent?
Damn.
If you need to pull up an emoji keypad, I don't blame you. I would have too. So
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to do that. Okay, it'd probably be like, okay, the beginning of the idea would probably be like the like eyes squinted, blushing with a smile. And then the realization of the idea would be like the one where it's melting into like the face is just like melting away with a smile.
yeah.
Because I always realize I'm in too deep and quickly want to just get out. And then I guess at the end, how would I end? Glass of wine.
Very cool. So we have this like squinty, blushy smiley to start
Yeah,
with.
because it's like, oh, idea. And then it's like, oh, fuck, idea.
And now I'm melting into this idea.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? And then when you've made it to the end, you're just like, all right, let me just sip some wine. I'm done.
Yeah.
I love it. You see, this is always a fun exercise. It sounds ridiculous at first, but the results are so very cool.
That was difficult. That was hard to do.
Yeah, it's not the easiest because you have to like really think of what it represents and to find the right ones. I think that maybe the younger generations are going to be much quicker about it than I would be answering that question.
Yeah.
But what's cool about that is every episode that is an interview gets those emojis. So you selected your emojis and they're going to go in the title of your episode.
Cool.
So, and it sets the tone for the listener too, a little bit where when they look at the After Hours podcast, episode coming out, it's going to say, Omio with those emojis after it. And I'm hoping that it turns into like a vibe check for the listener before they play it. And they're just gonna be like, melting. I have to listen to this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for going through it with me because that was totally worth it, I think.
Sure. No, that's cool.
So, well, I think that might be a good wrap up for our time today. Normally I throw the emojis in at the end because they do take some time to think about. If there's anything that you wanted to share with the listeners before we go, feel free to shout out to somebody, or if you want to let listeners know best place to find you, where that might be, if there's anything you wanted to say.
Yeah, Instagram's probably the best place to see what's going on. We have a website, Omio.oare. We're about to get way better about the website. That'll probably be like where we move all of our traffic to moving here in the future. So Omio.oare. We tend to post live stuff on there from time to time. It kind of keeps us honest.
That's good. Yeah. And then you guys have the shows coming up in Texas, right? What were the dates?
Yeah. So March 29th and March 30th. The 29th will be in Arlington at Caves Lounge, and the 30th will be in Deep Ellum at Ruins. We're playing with J Neon and La Fe.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're really stoked about those shows. And then April's really busy for us. We're playing a after party for Karagibin, which I'm pretty stoked about that show.
I saw that and I was like, oh man, I wish I could be out there because that looked exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Yeah, we've got a few more shows coming up. The Chiba Hut 420 thing. April's going to be really busy. But hopefully soon after that, there'll be a single out, all tied up with the music video. And then soon after that, maybe like a double single on vinyl. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking forward to all of that. So I hope that you guys have awesome shows and the gigs go well and they're exciting experiences for you guys. And I'm super excited to hear what you guys have been working on when it comes out for release. So I'm going to be scouring the YouTubes and the Instagrams, looking for, those live clips from the shows that I can't attend right now. But it was awesome having you on After Hours. So thank you so much, Omar, for coming and talking about Omio with me today because it was fantastic. I love the music. I'm glad you reached out and I'm hoping we can do this again with the whole band at some point.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. This was really, really cool.
Well, it was my pleasure. So thank you so much for tuning in to the After Hours podcast. And for joining us, thank you, Omar from Omio. If you'd like to hear more of Omio's music, I will post the links in the description for this week's podcast. See you next time on After Hours.